So, my name is Britten. I'm the Chief Technical Officer, or Technical Director, however you want to call it, for Mighty Games Group. We're best known for our game Shooty Skies, which is a wacky arcade shooter, free to play on iOS and Android. So, to answer the question of how do you get in the games industry, I get asked this a lot, and I talk to a lot of students and do a lot of talks in front of students and mentor a lot of people. And what I always tell people is that with the tools we have nowadays, the best way to get in the industry is just to start making games, right? As soon as you make a game and you publish it on iOS or Google Play or Steam or whatever, GOG, itch.io, as soon as you publish a game, you're now in the games industry. You're now a game maker. And the more of that stuff you do on your own or with little groups or with your student friends, or if you can find a job, great. But like whenever people come to us to be hired, the first thing I look at is their portfolio. What have they made? What have they done? Because it's so easy to make games nowadays. If you haven't made one, then I'm like, are you really into it that much? So I think that the best way to be in the game, to get in the games industry is basically to just be in the games industry, just become a game maker, make some games, simple games, small games, they don't have to be crazy big. And that, I think, is the best way to get going. Because the more games you make, the better you are at solving problems and stuff, and then you're more likely to get hired by a studio like us, or just hit it big and have your own studio. So that's usually what I tell people. It's like, how do I get in the games? How do I get in the games and make $1 million? And the real answer is, like I said, you just keep making games, keep making games. Like Shooty Skies is my most successful game to date as a studio. It's made about 6 million downloads, about $1.5 million, and that was probably I can't remember what the count is, something like my 47th shipped game. Mm-hmm. So that's like, I learned from the first 46 games how to make a game that was a hit. So, and hopefully the next game will be a hit, and so on and so forth. But I think the biggest question is, how do I get into games? And the answer is just keep making games.
All right.
I sort of fell into it sort of backwards. So I was in the film industry, doing visual effects, programming stuff, and I traveled around the world a whole lot in my film industry career. And I met my now wife here in Australia, and wanted to move here. So I had this 12-month period where I couldn't work because I was on a tourist visa, and I had to leave the country every few months to get my passport stamped. And I'd always wanted to make games, so I just had this time, and I just burned through all my savings and just wrote a few games and stuff. And at the same time that happened, the iPhone sort of came out, right? And the iPhone sort of arriving as a thing you could develop on, basically opened floodgates for people, for an individual developer to publish their own work, right? So I started I was like, oh gosh, so I started doing iPhone games, work on things like that. And the Melbourne game scene is very active and collegiate, and we're all very supportive of each other, so I sort of got involved in that very early and had lots of friends supporting me. So it was, I wouldn't say it was easy, it's never easy, but it was just the right sort of mix of people and timing and hardware, Apple hardware, and then Google, a year later. So I was sort of the right place, right time, right motivation, really.